Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this live broadcast of KCR's Associated Students Presidential Debate. On a recent executive order from the Trump administration called for local law enforcement agencies to aid in deportation, Chancellor Tim White's office appeared to defy that policy in part when it announced, quote, "The enforcement of those laws is the responsibility of the federal government, not the CSU." Do you agree with the Chancellor's interpretation of the executive order? And Kaitlyn?
I think I would have liked to seen a stronger statement from Chancellor White about that, because he does state that in the executive order that it's the local law enforcement. And if we want to be making sure we're protecting our students, we need to be working with local law enforcement and letting them know, like, you're not coming onto our campus. We're not allowing ICE onto our campus. We're not going to be allowing deportations from campus due to local police or SDSU PD or whoever it may be trying to get to these vulnerable students. And like all my other candidates represented, this is a place for higher learning. Your immigration status is not our business.
You've supported the university's prevention efforts with regards to campus safety to some degree, but you've said we don't respond well enough to incident. There's not a good enough campus safety response.
For me, I think that one of the really conflicting things with having our own police department is kind of questioning where their loyalty lies. Is it to the university or is it to the victim? And is it like having SDSU PD represent saying that they were 20% down in assaults on campus? Is that an accurate number? Can we trust that number? Because I know, working through the DA's office and having family and law enforcement in 3 different organizations throughout San Diego County, that assaults are on the rise, especially here in the college area. So an appropriate response to me is getting that victim or survivor the medical attention she needs or he needs. We're going to the hospital, getting a SART exam, making sure that they're safe and they're administered the proper medication or whatever they need, and then allocating them to somebody if they decide to be pressing charges, or even if they don't, to victims advocacy and making sure they know about Marcy's Law and how the Victims' Bill of Rights works for them here in California.
Just to clear this up, are you suggesting that San Diego State Police is minimizing the reality of campus sexual assault?
Yes.
And how do you plan to change that?
I think working directly with the police department and having that open line of communication, because obviously a lot of what they do is working here on campus and a lot of what they do is supporting students. But I think that has to be more done. Like, there's a ton of room for improvement, and we need to make sure that our chief of police and the officers on the ground are ready for those improvements and are ready to kind of step up their game in the area of assaults, thefts, armed robberies.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying that San Diego State PD is like hiding more sexual assaults that are occurring?
I think that historically, college police organizations do hide more sexual assaults. Mm-hmm. I think if we take a look at Baylor right now, that's probably the number one issue, is they had this campus police department that was shuffling these off to the university, and the university was burying them. And so we need to be having victims.
Is there any specific evidence you'd like to cite with our police department hiding sexual assault?
I do not. That is just an idea that I firmly believe through the people that I've talked to and the stuff that I've had to deal with throughout my time at the DA's office, that it's a definite possibility.
Right. If elected president, how will success be defined at the end of your term? Kaitlyn?
I definitely, at the end of a term, at the end of next year, I want people to say that we've got a more inclusive campus. We've got a campus that's more willing to talk and to have a dialogue about difficult topics, whether it's political, social, economic. And I really want to be the driving force behind that change. And I want them to be able to say, yeah, we accomplished these 3 goals.
That's all the time we have for KCR's 2017 AS presidential debate. We'd like to thank the candidates, Chloe Senchen, Kaitlyn Hart, Chimizi Ibierque, and Ben Delvik. And thanks to you, our audience on the radio and on Facebook Live. Voting begins this Monday, March 13th. The online polls on your SDSU web portal will stay open until Thursday. When those results are announced Thursday night, KCR will be live from Montezuma Hall, bringing you all the election results.